Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to Live a Live. When we last left off, we completed the ninja chapter, and today we are moving right along into one of the shorter chapters. I would say this is probably... It's kind of a toss-up between whether this one or this one is the shortest chapter. This is the third shortest chapter, but these two right here, it's just, like I said, it's kind of a toss-up. But we're going to do Cowboys. In a time when the West was wild and criminals were many, a haggard traveler with a price on his head wanders into Success Town, the recent target of a notorious outlaw gang. Work quickly to set traps and take down the crazy bunch. So this chapter is kind of a time trial thing. The goal is to run around, gather up items, and then assign townsfolk to set up traps. And the townsfolk have different speeds at which they do it. And if you get all of the traps, it makes the boss at the end really easy. I mean, it's actually not that hard to just take on all of the crazy bunch, but that's no fun. By the way, I like that swinging door there. That strikes me as just a detail they didn't have to put in. It's like, and that's one of the things that I love about this game. That's the best way I can describe this to anybody. This is a little labor of love Squaresoft RPG that is just full of little details that didn't have to be there. And yeah. I love he's like, here, post this up for me. And so he just walks over. Who's this feller? Well, this happens to be Sundown. The Sundown Kid. Incidentally, he is the oldest character of the main characters, minus the old master, who is now dead and been replaced by Lee. I think he's like 36. I think that's how old Sundown is. I do like the backgrounds here. Like, I feel like there was a lot of love and care taken, even in scenes like this, where, like, you could say that these are not assets that are used a lot. You know, they're only used in this one scene. The music in this chapter is, like all the other chapters, impeccable. Draw, varmint! Oh, I didn't one-shot him. So, that multi-counter right there is one of the things that makes Sundown one of the best characters in this entire game. He will counter so many attacks, and he does a stupid amount of damage with his counters. It's great. The only thing holding Sundown back is, of course, the fact that he is basically a glass cannon. He does not have... he's a very focused glass cannon. He's there to do damage. He cannot do anything else. In addition to that, he is also very fragile. And he doesn't have the best selection of armor. So... or weapons. So, I think he's got 2 weapons, 3 weapons that he can equip in the entire game. Most of the characters are like that, though, so it's not like a huge deal. Like, whatever. One of the interesting things about Sundown, I'll talk about in a second, as we start the Old West chapter, Wandering. One of the interesting things about Sundown is when I was doing the testing on the moves, none. Like, all the guides say, oh yeah, max out Sundown's IQ. it's the way to go for him. It'll like make his damage skyrocket. None of his skills, none of his skills seem to get any effect from IQ except for his level 16 skill, Hurricane Shot. And the way Hurricane Shot works is it's got a really long charge time, but it has a really wide damage range. And from what my testing showed, Hurricane Shot, the way it works is the more IQ you have, the bigger the minimum range is. So let's say it's got like a 500 point range. And then basically what you do is you move that range up the more IQ you have. So you end up with a situation where you do 999 more often with more IQ. But none of his other skills are affected at all. And one of the things I noticed, there's single shot, double shot, triple shot, and quad shot. They each do about 20 points damage more than the previous shot. So that's good, I guess. I mean, it's a definite improvement that's easy to track, but at the same time, it's kind of disappointing. That is not a horse sound. I want everybody to know that's not a horse sound. That said, Sundown's a really good person. I mean, a really good character to have in your party. I'm not criticizing him or anything or saying he's bad. I'm just trying to educate you on how his moves work. Yeah, you can. Hula! Tequila! You want, yes? Ooh, that's a lot of money in the 1800s. $5,000? So anyway, let's talk to the bartender here. That's mighty generous of you. We don't want anybody who don't pay. Now, one of the things that I really like about the design of this game is the art for the official art. There is, of course, character art for every one of the main characters in the game. So, like, you can see most of that if you look in, say, the instruction manual scans. But there was also this scene art that was commissioned for the 7 main scenarios that kind of is in the style of like a movie poster. And I've been using that for the outro screens. So, I mean, that's what you've been seeing there. And it's really, really good art. And I would like to point out that these are the names of all famous people who played cowboys, if you're not familiar with like spaghetti westerns and stuff. Ooh, she got spunk. I like her. Gotta love that sass. Getting the bulge on me. I'm not really sure what that means. Maybe I should Google it. I'm gonna do that real quick. I got my phone here. Getting the bulge. on. It means to get an advantage over someone. So, like, if you get the bulge on someone, you have the advantage over them. Apparently, it's Old West slang. That's a neat touch. I like that they added that to the game. I never thought to like see what that meant until just now. Luckily, I have my phone here. Isn't having the internet at your literal fingertips the best? It's like people are always going on about, oh, but the good old days. No, screw that. The current days are pretty good too. We have the internet. Women can vote. Several other things. That's just the stuff for a spineless coward like yourself. Well, we're just going to send that back then. Ooh, get lost. This is one of my favorite battle themes. One of the things that makes Sundown so good is his extreme range. The music in this game is so good. I don't think there's a dud track on the entire soundtrack. Yep, I really cleaned his plow. I'm a regular old curly wolf. That must be more Old West slang. You're such a damned hard case. I don't think that's quite what that means. I think it would have been better to call him useless or something. Like, I was always under the impression that a hard case is somebody that wanted to do it the hard way. Let me verify that with the power of Google again. What is a hard case? Let's Google hard case slang. A tough person. That's what it means. Okay, so I don't think that was right. Unless it had a different meaning back in the 1800s or something. That's possible. Kind of like when somebody says, blood is thicker than water. That is a thing that the meaning has changed over the course of when it was first used. If you were unaware of that, now it means that, blood is thicker than water. Somebody means that my family ties are more important than they trump all else. But the original quote is blood is thicker than water, except for like the covenants you choose to make yourself or something along the lines, which means that you shouldn't, the friendships that you choose to cultivate yourself, the people that you have chosen to be around, are more important than the people you just happen to be related to due to the circumstances of your birth. I don't know the actual quote, otherwise I'd read it to you. I'm not going to whip out Google again. I think twice is enough for one video. This is a short chapter. It'll probably be another 5 minutes or so of talking, and then we will probably be another... So I imagine this will be like 2 videos. I might do one super long video, because we're at like 15 minutes right now. If you do the ... he just asks you again. That's like the but thou must of this. You must answer, basically. So much old-timey slang in this chapter, though. I never really noticed that until just now. It's a duel! It's a duel! Oh, man, how did that go? It's time to duel! There we go. Yeah, it's been so long since I've seen Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh, man. I'm gonna fill you full of lead! Ugh! I hurt myself by speaking like that, actually. That really was hard on my throat. I shouldn't have done that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Grf. I don't even. I like interesting noises like that. Like I'll be reading a book or something and I'll be like, what is that even? Like, how would you even say that? Well, I mean, like, if you're looking at that from their perspective, dude was literally standing in front of a tree. Dude was literally standing on a porch. It's not like they were hiding. They only look like they're hiding from us because we're seeing it from such an angle. Once again, with the old-timey slang. Well, glad to have you aboard, Mad Dog. Oh, Dio. You expected something else, but it was me, Dio! I'm a really big fan of JoJo. Alright. Once you talk to everybody, and then talk to him. Well, you don't have to talk to everybody. You just talk to Mad Dog twice. And he comes up with the idea of traps. And everybody says they'll help. So we're going to be... Basically, this is the meat of this chapter. You run around, you explore the town under a time limit. You get as many traps as you can and pick up as many supplies as you can. I imagine they kind of expected you to not kill, like defeat all of the crazy... Excuse me, all of the crazy bunch with the traps. Like, to thin them out a little bit, you know? See. And so, after all, we shall. We shall fight for the amigos. Nice. You get the Peacekeeper badge. Peacekeeper badge has no stats on it. It is an accessory. It raises your evasion for from firearm attacks, which is actually really useful in this chapter, but not really so much anywhere else. Alright, so we have a major time limit, and it is actually can be very tight. So you get the slingshot, you run up, we're gonna run, and we're gonna gather all of this stuff up. Bourbon, tequila, cigars, those are your healing items. If you investigate that money bag, okay. You end up getting a scene that wastes a little time, so you don't want to do that. Get a cigar. I think because we got in Annie's, yeah. So if you investigate Annie's dresser there, you can then investigate the barman's dresser here and get the poster, the pinup poster, which is a trap. All right. Bourbon. Secret door. Always nice. Get a jacket. Empty bottle. And you can make a Molotov. I don't like making more than a single Molotov. However, if you're going for the if you're not going to set any traps, having a few Molotovs is not a bad idea, because you can throw them and do some pretty good damage. That's some funky music, man. Alright, so that's the first bell. No. So you want to aim, if you want to kill all the Mad Bunch with the traps, you want to aim for getting all of the items by the fourth bell and starting to send people out. If you can get everything and get back to the bar and start sending people out by the fourth bell, you should be fine. Should have plenty of time to put everything out. Unfortunately, Mad Dog is going to ask us if we want to make Molotovs every time we pick up those bottles. You could skip a lot of these items, but I don't want to do that. I want to show you where everything is.